All right, thanks for joining in today on Dusty DIY. Today we are actually going to be building some shelves that go on a cement wall for like a cold storage or a basement wall, somewhere where you may want to store some food storage or some type of storage for whatever. Today what we're going to be doing is we're actually going to be joining onto some existing shelving that was built here, and we're going to extend it down the wall. I'm actually going to show you a simple method of how to build some 2-foot shelves connected to a concrete wall and with some simple materials. First things you're going to need, number one, you're going to need a hammer, a tape measure. You're going to need 2 types of screws. This is a 3-inch construction screw. Preferably I like the gold ones. A strong one, and then we have 2-inch or 1.5-inch construction screws, 1/4-inch plugs. Gonna need some of those, and also a screw gun, some kind of a level. Today we're gonna use a laser level. Gonna basically shoot a laser on the wall that's level, but you could use a regular bubble level to do this. And the other tool we have, it's an important one, is we have a hammer drill. This one has a 1/4-inch, 1/4-inch bit in it to hammer into concrete. Highly suggest one of these. They make the job easy. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to actually decide how high we want our shelves, or the distance between our shelves. On this job, I've already got some shelves over on this other side. And so I'm going to just project the laser across from the height of the shelf so I know where the height of the shelf is. But what you would do is basically decide where are the heights of your shelves, how many you're going to put on the wall, and go from there. The materials we're going to use, the wood materials. We got a bunch of 2x2 lumber, basically 2x4s cut in half for the frame part of it. The actual shelf part today, I have particle board shelving, 23.5 2-foot shelving. We're going to build about 10 feet of shelf along this wall. Going to show you a quick, easy way to do it with those basic materials and tools. Thanks for joining in today. All right, first thing I did was I actually decided the height of my shelf on the wall, the first one, the top one here. And you could use a bubble level on this, but I just shot a laser. I got it sitting on the other side wall, just shooting a line across there, a plumb line all the way across. I'm going to connect onto this previous shelf height. So I actually went to the bottom of my 2x2. You could either do the bottom or the top, doesn't really matter, just as long as you got a nice straight line across there. And then I went down the wall down here and determined how far am I going to make the shelf. Once I got that determined, I would cut me enough 2x2 length to run the back side of the shelf all the way to my mark. Okay, so what I did was I put 2 holes in each end of this 2x2. It's the first one that's going up. I'm gonna hold it right up to the bottom of my laser mark here. So I have a perfect plumb line. It makes it kind of nice to have a laser just because you're not messing around with the bubble level, even though that would work. And I'm going to go ahead and just mark the wall with the hammer drill. Right there. And the other one goes right here. Alright, once I get that marked, I'm going to go ahead and drill the wall. With a good bit, that usually goes pretty fast. The way I like to do it is basically on the first 2, I drill a hole on one end and the other and just get the board semi-plumbed. Then I'm going to take a 1/4-inch plastic plug, about 1.25 inches long. Going to tap it into the hole on the wall, the 1/4-inch hole. The hammer, like that. All right, once I get that, I'm gonna go to my 3-inch construction screws, you want to get a good solid screw, one that's not going to bend, for strength. And I grab my trusty DeWalt drill. Then I'm going to go ahead and put in the screw through the wood at a pre-drilled hole. Make sure it grabs real nice, should grab real tight. Alright, there's my pretty much set up right there. First two screws holding it up. You can see so far it's decent on the wall. A little warpage on that board, but basically what I want to do next, I want to put a fastener into the wall about every 16 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and put at least 3 more on here. And I didn't pre-drill the board before. I've noticed I can just hammer drill right through the board into the wall once it's up. So I'll make sure it's on my line, go ahead and drill. Once I get that drilled, I'm just going to basically put a plug in those holes, and basically I'm going to drive the plug all the way through the 2x4. You could mark them all individually and drill them before you put up the board, but I find it pretty easy to just pound these all the way through the board. Take my grabber screw. I have a pretty good idea how far to go to make that plug enter into the concrete. Sink it all the way down to about 1 inch of your 3/4 of the head on a 3-inch grabber sticking out. Okay, so I sunk those in. I'm going to go ahead and tighten them. I like to suck the screw into the wood just a little. Alright, and I have a good solid contact on that wall. Basically on that 8-foot board I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 3-inch grabber fasteners into the wall, about every 16 inches. I'm going to add one little piece onto my section of wall to make it the distance I'm going today. And then I'm actually going to go ahead and mount, I'm going to come around this corner right here, and I'm going to mount 3 more lineal footage of 2x2 on the wall for 3 more shelves right here that I have designed. So we're going to get to that point. We'll explain the next step. Okay, here we are back again. I went ahead and got all of my 2x2s mounted to the concrete wall with the hammer gun and 3-inch drills with 1/4-inch plugs. And actually, I'm just going to add on to these 4 shelves right here going down and bring a 10-foot, well, it's about a 11-foot section going down this wall right here. I have some short pieces of shelving left over from a project I had, and I'm going to use those as well as an 8-footer. So it's about 11 feet, 4 rows of shelving. So basically what we're going to do next is I have the laser level right here, and you may need someone to hold the shelves when you get started. I have a little 2x2 on this corner. It's going to help me out so I don't have to have a helper right at the moment. But I got my laser line right here going right on the top of the 2x2 so that I can just look at my line and see where plumb is, which is much easier than using my level. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take a chunk of my shelving. I'm going to put it right here and slide it as far into there as I can go. Now, most likely you'll have to have someone hold this right here, but then I'm going to go ahead and run a couple, 2 or 3 screws down in the backside into the 2x2 to hold it temporarily. Now that kind of holds it on the back, doesn't necessarily hold the front. On the front, we're going to make sure it's level. And basically what we're going to do is we need to add a 2x2 onto the front of the shelf to give it shear strength here. So I do have a 2x2, and I'm going to basically screw down through the shelf here. And the reason I'm doing it this way is because I don't have a helper. If you had a helper, you could probably do it a little bit easier. All right, there's that. Now these screws in the front and the back into the 2x2s, you want to put those about every 12 inches, I'm guessing, somewhere in there. And that would add strength to the front of your shelf. Next, what I need some uprights that are going to support the front of the shelf. As you know, basically what I'm going to do is I have some cut. Here's one right here, and I'm going to put those every 3 or 4 feet so that it can support the weight of my shelf at the moment. Okay, I got my laser line right here. I'm just going to, okay, so now I have something that I can rest the next shelf on. As you can see, we're coming along here, and if you notice, basically what I did was I added one more support right here just to hold this, and then I had someone help me lift this shelf. It's just sitting there. So I'm going to go ahead and put my 2-inch screws, or 1.5-inch screws, in the back side about every foot along there. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the same thing going along this front edge. As I go, I'm actually making sure that I'm plumbing each one of these up and down, and they're just supports basically. So I figure I'll put one support here, one on the end, and one somewhere here in the middle. All right, what we can do next is go ahead and put our 2x2s up against our uprights and screw a screw through those to hold them. Then we can go ahead and sit our shelves on top. Once we get this plumb and sitting straight, all right, thanks for joining us today on Dusty DIY. We just finished up this shelf right here. Pretty easy, mounting it to the wall. Takes a little bit of time to hammer drill it into the wall. And then go ahead and install the multiple shelves. As you can see, turned out really nice. I evenly spaced these spacers about 40 inches in between them, and then made sure they were plumb going up and down. But a perfect DIY shelf for your cold storage or your food storage or whatever type of area you need to store stuff. Thanks for watching Dusty DIY. Please like and subscribe and hit that bell notification for more home projects. Thank you very much.